Great swindler! An enraged roar can be heard, and the sound of footsteps on a bluestone pavement by someone escaping could be heard. Zhang Xuan stretches out his both hands helpless. I am not a swindler, I am a teacher of the academy. I only want to make you my student. Besides that, do you have to add a great, while saying that I am a swindler? You make it sound as though I am some unpardonable criminal. After he finishes his muttering, he recalls to the words of the director, this is the 17th one already. If I still fail to find a student today, I would have to pack up and leave tomorrow. Zhang Xuan isn't a person from this world, but an ordinary librarian of a high school. He only remembers the blazing flames and then. There is no more then. When he woke up, he was already in this world. This world is just like the ones depicted in novels, the path of martial arts is respected and the strong reigns. Initially, he thought that after traversing, he would become a useless talent and end up rejected by his fiancée. Afterward, he would strike back, slapping them in their face, and his life would proceed smoothly from then on. Looks like he had overthought it. After arriving here, he realized that he isn't a student but a teacher. The most pathetic teacher in the entire academy. The lectures of other people are always overflowing with people, that many people who find themselves without seats. On the other hand, there isn't a single person in his class. It was difficult for him to rope in a few students, but they ended up labeling him as a swindler and escaped. As for the reason, ignoring the fact that the fellow, whose bodyguard took over by him was the weakest teacher in the entire campus and his inability to pick out talents, the crux of it all is that he even misguided a student, causing his cultivation to go berserk. This was just like having a dead patient under your record. His reputation went down and he was despised by everyone else. Even the new students chose to stay away from him, afraid that they would end up in the same situation if they were to fall into his clutches. A bad track record and his lack of students caused him to be ranked as the first from the bottom in the entire academy for the teacher qualification examination last year. He even got the first and only 0 marks in the entire history of the academy. Depressed, he used alcohol to drown his sorrows. In the end, just as he wished, he died, providing an opportunity for Zhang Xuan to leap over. At the start of a new term, the academy issued an ultimatum to him. If he were to be unable to recruit a single student to his lessons by this year, his qualifications as a teacher would be revoked. Today, there were already 17 new students who passed by his classroom. In the end, the moment they heard his name, every one of them ran away, as though a young lady meeting a strange uncle, running as far as their feet could take them. Looks like I have to look for a way to coax one of them. As he is still thinking about how he should rope someone in, he sees the head of a girl with a dazed expression at the entrance. May I ask if this is the classroom of teacher Luxun? She has a cute and elegant appearance, not to mention her sweet voice. Teacher Luxun is the academy's star teacher. His lessons are always packed, and innumerable people chose to come to the academy due to his fame. I will take her. Seeing someone walking into his trap, Zhang Xuan's eyes light up. Recalling all kinds of methods to act cool from his previous life, he sits quietly on his chair and poses like an enlightened expert. You want to become his student? The young girl nods her head furiously as admiration appears in her pitch-black pupils. I have heard that teacher Luxun is the most incredible teacher in Hongtian Academy. All of the students he taught are extraordinary, and joining his class is an honor in itself. Rumors may not reflect the truth. Teachers are just like shoes, what is important is whether it fits or not. No matter how well he lectures, if the theories are not suited to the skills you are practicing, not only will you find it hard to advance, your strength might even regress. Even if a teacher isn't well known, if his theories harmonize with yours, you can still improve swiftly and your cultivation will rise exponentially. Is that so? I have also heard my elder brother saying such words before. The young girl ponders for a moment, uncertainty appearing in her beautiful eyes. However, I don't know what kind of lessons would suit me. Seeing that she is on the hook, Zhang Xuan's eyes light up. He hesitates for a moment as great sages like Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels flashes through one after another in his mind. He feints a look of difficulty and says, "Our meeting could be considered as destiny as well. How about this? I am also a teacher of this academy. I will help you take a look at your bones, talents and personality and recommend a suitable teacher for you. Then I will trouble you, Mr." She didn't expect that a teacher she met so casually would be so accommodating. The girl immediately nods her excitedly. "Display your cultivation first." Zhang Xuan's eyes are half open, putting on a look, as though this doesn't bother him in any way. "Yes." "Whoo!" In a short moment, the entire room whistles from the shock wave of her punch. Wave after wave of spiritual energy swims around the body of the girl. For her spiritual energy to gather instead of dispersing, not to mention powerful but hidden, this shows that she has a great foundation. All right, I can tell that you have been training diligently and arduously. Your foundations are solid and your talent is top-notch. You are a hard-to-come-by genius. After she finishes a punching routine, Zhang Xuan nods his head in satisfaction. He is imitating the fortune tellers from Earth. His words are slippery with a great range of interpretation. The ones listening are unable to find a flaw with his words and instead, they will be shocked by how accurate his comments are. Especially the strength on your legs, they are just like a coiling dragon. Every movement is just like the raging waters, full of strength. As long as you were to train hard in the future, you would surely have a bright future. Teacher, my leg is injured. The physician said that it is as good as crippled. The girl interrupts his monologue with a look of suspicion in his eyes. Injured. Zhang Xuan's face turns red. However, he is thick-skinned, so others can't really tell. He continues to bullshit. "Do you think that I can't tell? I knew it from the moment you exerted your strength. The reason why I said it is because through destruction will there be rebirth. Although your leg is injured, you were unexpectedly blessed with an opportunity that no one else expected. As long as you grasp it properly, your legwork will become your greatest strength. Others can only look on with envy." Anyway, he is just coaxing her. If he can convince her with bullshit, he will bullshit. The important thing is to get a disciple over to him first. Opportunity? Teacher, what kind of opportunity is it? The girl's eyes lit up. After her leg was injured, she had always felt that she was inferior to others, causing her to have low self-esteem. She didn't expect to stumble on a fortune due to such a mishap. This opportunity can allow you to soar to the top in one go. It won't be difficult for you to become the top of the freshmen. After all, your talents are extraordinary, a genius that has yet to appear in history. However, Zhang Xuan's words go on and on. All he is short of now is to take out a Buddha's palm manual. TL, Kung Fu Hustle. Upon hearing that she is a genius capable of becoming the first among the freshmen, the girl's face blushes furiously and continues questioning, "However what?" However, Zhang Xuan sighs. It is a sigh lamenting that a talent is about to be buried in dirt. The teachers who are able to spot such an opportunity don't number many in this academy. Including me, there are only 3. The other 2 has already stopped accepting students from 3 years ago, so it would be difficult for me to ask them as well. Stopped accepting students? Initially, the girl had high hopes for it, but after hearing those words, her expression turns gloomy. Then, she seems to recall something suddenly and says, "They aren't accepting students, but teacher, are you accepting?" "Of course I am." "Just that, you can also tell I am indifferent to fame and fortune, and I don't have much time to spare as well. A look of difficulty appears on Zhang Xuan's face. If it isn't a good jade, I won't accept it easily even if our paths cross. Putung. Before he can finish his words, the girl kneels onto the floor and bows. I know that Mr. is noble, but please accept me as your student. I will train diligently so as to not embarrass you. A surge of joy rushes into Zhang Xuan's heart, though his face still maintains a look of difficulty. There is destiny between us, just that. You can also tell, I like peace. As your student, I promise to never interrupt teacher, unless it is an emergency. Seeing that he is a little unwilling, the girl immediately nods her head with a sincere look on her face. I don't have many students, so the resources I have cannot be compared to other teachers. Also, you might be criticized by others. Zhang Xuan continues. Is that so? I have heard that training resources are important. The girl hesitates. The amount of resources a teacher claims from the academy is related to the number of his students, their results, and numerous other factors. Without sufficient resources, it is difficult to advance ahead in one's cultivation. Cough cough, I only said that to test you. Since you are determined, and sincere in acknowledging me as your master, I will reluctantly accept you. Looking at her signs of hesitation, Zhang Xuan interrupts her and says, your identity card. So quickly? She didn't expect that the teacher would change his face as quickly as flipping the page of a book. The girl is slightly surprised as she grasps the token passed over by Zhang Xuan, which represents his identity. Just as she is considering whether she should affirm the relationship, she sees the reticent teacher Zhang pull her hand over and cuts it with a sharp dagger. A drop of blood falls on the jade token. Wink. Light flashes. Ah! The girl is a little dumbfounded. Didn't the teacher say that he has to consider carefully about it? Indifferent to fame and fortune, was it? Why is his movement so fast, and even the dagger was prepared beforehand? From now on, you are my student. After the verification through blood, Zhang Xuan heaves a sigh of relief. Then, he continues to assume his image as an unworldly expert. What is your name? Teacher, I am called Wang Ying. Knowing that her decision cannot be revoked, the girl doesn't say anything else and nods her head. Take your identity token to claim your bedding and your books. Also, look for your lodging while you're at it. We shall begin lessons tomorrow. Meet me here. Zhang Xuan flicks his hand. Yes. Wang Ying nods her head and turns around to leave. Whew. I have successfully coaxed one in. After confirming that she is his student, Zhang Xuan heaves a sigh of relief and smiles. It really isn't an easy task. If it wasn't for the techniques in acting cool that he learned from the internet, it would be hard for him to succeed today. With one student, he will be able to avoid the misfortune of being expelled. Zhang Xuan feels the burden on his heart disappearing. In a moment, his spirit feels much more relaxed. The obsession that was lingering in his brain disappears gradually. Rest easy, now that I am in your body, I will live properly in your stead. The previous Zhang Xuan died, because he was unable to recruit students, so he held strong regrets in this world. Now that there is a student under him, his final obsession disappears. At this moment, Zhang Xuan could be considered to finally gain complete control over this body. Boom! After gaining full control of this body, Zhang Xuan wants to continue coaxing a few more students over. However, he suddenly feels a tremor in his head, as he hears a sound of ancient bells striking in his head. The heaven and earth are callous, treating all beings like dogs. The sun sets and the moon wanes, and imperfection appears in the heaven and earth. Boom! All kind of profound adages shocked him giddy. Following which, a giant palace appears before him in his head. On it, 4 words glow brightly. Library of Heaven's Path. Opening the door, he walks in. Countless bookshelves stand tall and mighty with all kinds of books on them. The end can't be seen at a single glance. Could this be the gift pack for transcenders? A library? Damn it, I was a librarian in my previous life. It can't be that I would still be the same in this world as well. The gift packs of others are old grandfathers, systems or all kinds of overpowered items. Yet, my gift pack is a library? Zhang Xuan could feel the sight before him turning dark and he almost faints. Library? For what? It can't be that in my future fights, when other people are throwing swords at me, I would be throwing books? Let me see, what books are those? Feeling helpless, Zhang Xuan reaches out to grab a book from a bookshelf so as to determine the purpose of this library. However, when he stretches out, his hand passes through the bookshelf, causing him to grab thin air. Are you playing with me? Giving me a library yet preventing me from grabbing and reading any book? What exactly do you want? Zhang Xuan is speechless. An urge to cry overwhelms him but no tears fall out. Looking around for a while longer, Zhang Xuan realizes that all of the books in the library are just like the moon reflected in the water. It is impossible to retrieve them from the shelves. Thus, he loses interest and his consciousness retreats from his mind. Time to eat lunch. After lunch, I will think of a way to coax another 2 more. Looking out the window, it seems to be around noon. Out of the 18 students who came by in the morning, he only managed to get one of them to join him. His acceptance rate is really quite low. He can't continue at this pace in the afternoon. No matter what, he is a transcender. If he is unable to dupe those from the ancient era, how could he proudly say that he came from a world in the age of information? Stretching his back, he walks out of the lecture hall towards the canteen. Just like the high schools from his previous life, the Hongtian Academy's canteen is rather large. Its size is sufficient to allow more than 10,000 students eat in it concurrently. After successfully recruiting a student, his mood lifted. Thus, he orders a few more side dishes and sits by the corner to enjoy his meal. Isn't that Teacher Zhang? While he is eating happily, a voice sounds out. Lifting his head, he sees a young man gazing at him with a smiling face. His face didn't have a hint of warmth and instead, he emits the feeling of a fake smile. Teacher Cao? Zhang Xuan recognizes him. Teacher Cao's full name is Cao Zhang. He joined the academy along with him. He likes to compare achievements with others and make use of it as a tool to inflate his ego. The previous owner of the body couldn't take insults, that's why he drunk to his death. This fellow definitely played a big role in exerting such pressure on him. Today, the freshmen are reporting at the academy to choose their teachers. How is your recruitment going? Judging by how you still have the mood to be eating here, it should be not bad. Look, these are the students that I have recruited, a total of 12 of them. I am here to bring them for a meal before stationing them at their living quarters. Teacher Cao has a look of superiority on his face. He points to the back as he brags openly. No doubts about it, he is here to brag. There isn't any grudge between Zhang Xuan and him. However, since they came into the academy at the same time, it is hard to avoid comparisons between the two of them. Thus, he often made use of him to make himself feel superior. A bunch of youths follows behind him. Every of them has a lively expression on their face, as they are curious about the new things here. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you all. This is Teacher Zhang, a celebrity in our academy. He is the very first teacher to score a 0 in the teacher qualification examination, since the inception of our academy. He created history. Teacher Cao introduces to the crowd. 0 marks in the teacher qualification examination? Ah, I have heard of it when I was on the way here. A student he taught went into a frenzy and was almost crippled. I have heard of it as well. Quite a few people have told me, before I came, to not choose him as my teacher. Otherwise, not only will I not be able to cultivate, it is also equal to suicide. I didn't expect that he would be the one. To think that he has such a kind face. Hearing Cao Zhang's introduction, a commotion breaks out among the students. There are many elements to the teacher qualification examination, and a total score will be given based on the evaluation of the various aspects of it. The students' examination results also play a part in it as well. As long as the teacher has some students, there would bound to be a result. Obtaining 0 marks could be considered as making history. Are you done with your introduction? Towards the commotion of the crowd, Zhang Xuan does not get angry. The one who scored a 0 is the previous Zhang Xuan. What does it have to do with him? However, even if he isn't really angry, he is still quite annoyed by the actions of this teacher Cao, who raises his own standing by beating others down. He waves his hands and says, "After you are done with your introduction, you can scram. Don't interrupt my meal here." Cao Zhang didn't expect that this fellow wouldn't feel embarrassed even when his history is revealed. He was even asked to scram away. Cao Zhang's face darkens. He shakes his hands and with the prestige of a teacher, he says, "For you to score 0 points in the teacher qualification examination, you have broken the academy's record. Do you not have a sense of shame?" "Shame? Why should I feel ashamed? You have already said it yourself, I have broken the record and became a famous person. All of the freshmen know who I am. However, what about you?" Zhang Xuan raises his hands and points towards the students behind Zhang Xuan's back. "How much did you score in the examination? Do they know? Before they even came to the academy, do they know who you are? If it wasn't for your insistence to the extent that you even treated them to food, do you think they will acknowledge you as their teacher? To remain unknown as a teacher, you still dare to brag before me. What the hell are you so proud of? Gar? If other people were to score 0 in their teacher qualification examination, their head would definitely remain lowered when they are outside for fear of disgracing themselves. However, this fellow was the direct opposite. He was gleeful about it, and held his head up high because of it. Instead, he despises Cao Zhang for not scoring a 0. Cao Zhang is about to explode. His skin is really too thick. The crux of it is, with this kind of results, how can you still be so proud of yourself? The students behind him stare at one another, at a loss of what to do. What about his reputation, his reputation? This teacher. Isn't he too shameful? Shame? Thick-skinned? What a joke. In the era that Zhang Xuan lived in order to become famous, some celebrities did all kinds of shameful deeds. Whatever you could think of, nude photos and fake news, they don't get embarrassed doing these kinds of stuff. Even if he were to score 0 marks for his teacher qualification examination, it doesn't mean a thing compared to the things that those people did. Cao Zhang's face turns red. The main job of a teacher is still teaching. Today, I will not squabble with you. Let's cross blows only after you get a student. Then, we'll see whose student is more skilled. After saying those words, he turns around to leave. At this point, the conversation between a male and female could be heard behind him. That teacher is really not bad. His personality is also good. The voice of a dazed girl sounds out. Hesitation could be heard in her tone. "Second young mistress, listen to my words. Before we headed out, young master has already entrusted me to bring you to teacher Lu Xun. However, you refused to listen to me. You even shook me off. Ignoring that, you chose him out of everyone else." The voice of an old man sounds out. A tinge of frustration could be heard in his tone. "That teacher is not as bad as you said. He is a good person, he promised to guide me. He said that. If I were to train properly, I can become the top of the cohort. Hesitation could still be heard in the voice of the female. You still want to be the top of the cohort. If you were to study under him, it is already a blessing for your cultivation to not go berserk. Second young mistress, do you know who he is? He is the most famous useless teacher in the entire academy. He scored a 0 the last teacher qualification examination. My little sister, you better hurry up and withdraw your application, otherwise young master would kill me, if he were to hear of this. A pleading tone appears in the voice of the old man. Big brother. Hearing the old man talk about the young master, the little girl starts to get frightened. Her face distorts and she falls into a dilemma. Hearing those words, the leaving Cao Zhang's eyes light up, as he smiles towards the eating Zhang Xuan. Teacher Zhang, could this young lady be the student you just recruited? Huh, looks like it isn't going well for you. She seems to be intending to withdraw as your student. Teachers can pick students and similarly, students can also pick their teachers. If a student finds their teacher inappropriate for them, they can return the token given to them. Cao Zhang's loud voice attracts quite a bit of attention. The mistress and servant duo, who were discussing, gaze over as well. Second young mistress, is he the teacher you just acknowledged? The old man's gaze falls on Zhang Xuan. Yes. The young girl nods her head. The old man immediately stands up and walks over to Zhang Xuan. Teacher Zhang, the young mistress of our family has decided to withdraw from your lessons. Old Liu. She didn't expect the old man's movements to be so quick. The girl's face flushes red and she hurries over. She looks at Zhang Xuan with a look of apology and says, Teacher, She is the student Zhang Xuan just accepted, Wang Ying. Wang Ying, you know that I do not accept students. The reason why I accepted you is because our paths crossed. Why do you want to withdraw and give up on such a good opportunity? Do you know how many people desire to become my student, but I refuse them? Of course, Zhang Xuan will not allow her, who he coaxed with much difficulty, to escape. Thus, he assumes a very elderly tone. What the hell? Hearing his words, the ones in the surroundings, who are aware of his background, feel their vision turning dark and they almost fainted. Big brother, can you at least have a sense of shame? What do you mean by refusing to accept students, paths crossing and many people desiring to be your student? You are obviously the one who can't recruit any student. This isn't. Under his interrogation, Wang Ying immediately waves her hand, but before she could finish her words, someone interrupts her. Yes. Seeing how indecisive his second young mistress is, the old man Uncle Liu steps forward. Teacher Zhang, our family's second young mistress has decided to withdraw from your class. She finds it hard to verbalize it out. I will be depending on you for the withdrawal procedures. Withdraw? Zhang Xuan's eyelids twitch. You have to consider it properly. You will leave behind a bad reputation from withdrawing from a teacher's class. It will be hard other teachers to accept you. Are you going to ruin your young mistress' life just because of your stubbornness? Can you take responsibility? This. Old Li freezes. Students can withdraw their applications. However, this would be an insult to the teacher. Besides, if you are able to abandon this one, it means you are also able to abandon another one. Normally, this kind of student with bad track record will not be accepted by the other teachers. After all, for someone who has insulted the prestige of the teachers, no one would be willing to accept that kind of students. Besides, accepting the student would mean insulting the teacher to his face. Everyone are colleagues, so it isn't wise for them to offend their peers over a student. Training in the academy, a student can be considered to be ruined if they are unable to find a teacher. Old Li was still quite determined a while ago. However, Hearing his words, he is put in a difficult position. After all, he is just a servant. If the second young mistress's future were to be delayed over this, he is unable to bear the consequences. Rest easy, your family's second young mistress has good talent. I will teach her well, she will definitely score well. Seeing that old Liu is wavering, Zhang Xuan starts to coax him as well. What a joke, how could he allow a cooked duck to fly away? Hold it right there, who says that no teacher would dare to accept her? Young lady, if you were to withdraw from this teacher here, I will immediately accept you as my student. Before Zhang Xuan could finish his words, Cao Zhang steps forward with his arms spread grandly. He just lost face in front of Zhang Xuan. Now that an opportunity presents itself before him, how could he simply let go of it? Cao Zhang, what are you intending to do? Zhang Xuan's face darkens. Intending to do? Such a good bud, it would be a pity for it to go to waste. If she were to withdraw from your classes, I will immediately accept her. After all, they came to the academy to study, so it is natural for them to choose the best teacher to guide them, and not someone who scored a 0 in the teacher qualification examinations. Chuckling, Cao Zhang looks gleeful. Poaching students from me publicly, do you think that I won't report this to the Central Education Bureau? This isn't just a normal bicker but a public poaching of a student. Although the academy encourages teachers to freely choose their students, they do not pardon this kind of snatching of students. The moment it happens, not only will it affect the relationships between the teacher, it could also affect the culture of the school. Poaching students? You speak too heavily. At most, let's have a fair competition advising her by the side. We will let the student choose by herself. Do you dare to agree to it? Cao Zhang says.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.